What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And this is the Chris 183. And welcome back, everybody. This is going to be a very special episode. Very special. Steve, I think I say that every single time, but I really do mean it this time because we are back.
You also say that every time.
We are back again. I say that?
Mm-hmm. No. It's special and you always say it.
You
mean it.
I use that word. We use a lot of words on this show because that's what it is. It's a show full of words. But we're going to talk about some acoustic stuff. That's right, everybody. It is Acoustic April. We are back again with yet another episode and another topic or album to talk about. Or should I say album, Steve? Because today we're going to talk about two different, we'll call them EP/albums. I don't know, whatever you want to call them. But it's two shorter EPs/albums from two different bands that we love, right? Maybe not both, but maybe, right? We'll talk about that. But today, guys, we're going to talk about My Heart Will Always Be, the B-side to My Tongue. And if you don't know who that's by, then just think about what I just said and think about that long-ass title that I just gave you, because think about it for 1 second, you'll know that that's Fall Out Boy. So that's part one. Number two is going to be the acoustic things. This is what I've been waiting for. My boys from State Champs, it's their acoustic. We'll call it again EP. It is definitely something we're going to want to talk about.
I am very excited about this, Chris. We've never really done a single episode where we do two completely different bands, but they're joined by this, acoustic overlap. And, they're both EPs, so they're shorter, as you mentioned, but it's nice to give them each their due. So these things don't really relate to each other, but fuck it. We're just going to smush them all together. And we brought on a special guest, our buddy Justin from the Philly, South Jersey band Cheer Up Dusty. Justin, it's been a while. How are you?
Yeah, man. It's probably been a couple of years since I've been on here. Just happy to be here, man. How you guys been?
Dude, we're good. I try and catch a Dusty show, as often as I can. I saw you guys, at Milk Boy? I think that was, last fall or something like that.
I think that was with Flying, if I'm not mistaken.
It was. That was a very cool show.
And then I was actually supposed to see you at State Champs. I forget if it was work or I got sick. I had a reasonable excuse, but I missed you at State Champs. I think that was a couple months ago.
That is why we thought of you when we were going to do State Champs. I was like, wait a minute. Justin from Cheer Up Dusty, he must really like State Champs because we were supposed to hang out at that show and something happened. You got sick or something like that.
I forget what it was, but it was legitimate. I promise.
And you missed a very good show. Chris can attest. We've seen Chris State Champs. Did they play the last 2 years at Four Chord?
Oh, maybe. I know there was 1 year they didn't, but they definitely played. And there was the 1 year you weren't there, right? Or 2 years?
I've only been there twice, so
you've been there
way more than me.
3 times I've seen them, and I plan to see them again this summer. They're coming outside of Four Chord again to Pittsburgh, and I'm definitely going to see them. I try not to miss these guys because they're phenomenal. They put on an amazing show, and they're outstanding. So
ton of energy. Justin, you're a big State Champs fan?
I'm a State Champ. I wouldn't say huge, but yeah, I love State Champs, especially those first 2 albums. I just remember, what's that one? Leave Me in the Dark. It's like the black and white one. I remember Nick, our guitarist, showing me that, which is funny because now it's like 10, 11 years ago. But
is that Around the World and Back?
Is
that's the one that they did in full at that show this past fall or winter.
Yeah, was that the anniversary? So yeah, I've loved them a lot, and that show was so important because it just even all the other, I think it was like Real Friends was on there and a couple of other ones I can't even recall, but I just remember that show was stacked. So I was really bummed about missing that one.
Do you, as a front man who's not playing an instrument most of the time, do you draw a lot of inspiration, if you will? It's Derek, right? That's the lead singer of State Champs?
Yeah, it's Derek.
Do you draw inspiration from his onstage presence?
Yeah. So when I first started, I was going heavy on the YouTube, and it was like, I did a lot of State Champs videos, a lot of Wonder Years videos, a lot of Taking Back Sunday videos, just like those classic kind of 5-piece bands, the Charlotte video, just to because I was always a bassist, so yeah, I was kind of like, what do you do? How do you like?
What do I do with my hands?
What do you do? Yeah, what do you do? And and then yeah, I kind of got used to not staying still, and I think it helped for sure.
And Chris, your favorite band, Fall Out Boy. Are you excited to get into them acoustic?
I'm excited to talk to you about how this struck me. I'm excited to talk to you about that because I think it's pretty well known how I feel about Fall Out Boy, and I'm not the biggest fan. Let's just get all our cards on the table. Let's throw them all out there and let's talk about it because I don't necessarily think that they're that good. And I've told you why before. I don't have to get into it on this show. And I understand that brings up a huge debate, but we're not going to do that here. We're just going to talk about this album. However, this is an acoustic album, Steve.
Totally different.
It's a little bit different. It's a little bit different.
Justin, what about you? What do you feel about Fall Out Boy?
In
general.
I said I'm gonna have to be that guy and give you that classic answer that everyone's gonna roll their eyes. And I like their old stuff.
End of sentence.
Yeah, that was it. From Under the Cork Tree, and Take This to Your Grave are just two great albums, and I was in middle and high school when those came out, so those are very important to me. But as they progressed and matured, I guess is the best way to put it, I started to fall off because I was still a kid and I didn't mature with them, I think is the kind of the best explanation I can give.
Would you consider sampling the Munsters maturing? Would you consider that to be the case? Because they sampled the Munsters, the show from the 1960s or 50s.
Sure. Why not? I mean, you know what really kind of lost it for me was the Disney stuff.
Is there Disney stuff?
Well, they have a song on Big Hero 6, and and then they also, what did they do? Patrick does the intro to some other Disney show.
It's like this Spider-Man kids show that they do. And, they just kind of went a little, but I'm not going to knock anyone for doing what they wanted. That's what they wanted to do. But, the first two albums I just think are kind of very pure, kind of gritty pop punk albums. And then, they matured and they started doing their own thing and just wasn't my kind of thing, but to each their own.
All right. Well, the topic of the show is not necessarily Fall Out Boy and State Champs. It's Acoustic April. So we've spent this month. We have talked about we've broken down some classic, and some lesser known acoustic albums. We did the Story of the Year Page Avenue acoustic version. We did Ocean Avenue acoustic. We talked about some Dashboard. Now we have these two. So Justin, before we get into these albums and stuff, what do you feel about do you like listening to acoustic jams?
I do when the times are. It's one of those you have to be in the mood, and I do think there are bands that do it better than others. Which again, when I give opinions like that, I hope I'm not knocking anybody, but for example, my band, we are not that good at acoustic. We did an acoustic show not too long ago, and it didn't go that well, and that was the first one in a couple years. We have one recorded acoustic song released. It's just not. I think you have to have the right voice and just the right vibe for it. I think State Champs does it very well because I think Derek, he's got a very pretty voice, and I think it flows well. I think Real Friends does it very well as well. So, yeah, I do like it when the time is right, and by whom I think is doing it well. Sure.
Cool, man.
I agree with that. I like that. He has a pretty voice. I think he does.
Pretty. I don't have a pretty voice. That's why I don't think acoustic translates, with our stuff very well. His is very pretty. He could have been a pop star if he felt like it, I think.
How would you classify your voice? Just if you could classify it.
It's got like a grit or like a grainy, like a
yeah, okay.
But not like I'm not I don't know. That sounds dumb. I don't know. It's not pretty. It's great. I mean, gritty is the only kind of word I can really think of, even though it sounds kind of cornballish, but
yeah,
that's kind of what I would have.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about Gritty though. We don't need to talk about Gritty or the color orange or anything. So we'll keep that to the side right now.
You have an orange shirt on?
It's because of where I work,
Okay.
not because of.
Chris is a little upset about the hockeys right now.
We can move on from that. This is a music show, so
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the first time that we'll just get it out of the way real quick, Steve. The first time that I saw Derek was on that medley, that medley thing that I saw on YouTube. I got to bring it up again. There's plenty of people, this might be their first show, and they would never know that of me. So now they do.
Yeah. What did he do? I can't remember. Do you remember what song he did? Justin, this is the it was like a neck deep like a 10-minute set where they did a bunch of covers and a bunch of people joined them. It's on YouTube. It was at like an award show.
It wasn't a neck deep song though, I don't think. It was a cover and I cannot remember which one it was.
Okay. I'm sure you'll go watch that for the 120th time.
As soon as we're done, I'm going to go watch, Chris Carrabba mess up the words to December and Derek sing really nice.
It is what it is. All right, so you guys we got 2 albums to get into. You want to get rolling?
I do.
All right. So the first one, as Chris said, it's a mouthful, and I don't even like having to put it in like the title of the episode, the show notes, and the social media posts.
Can you say it again because I forgot?
My heart will always be the B-side to my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Which is it's a long title, but I mean that's a deep concept. That's very Pete Wentz, I would say.
What does that mean to you?
That I don't know. The lyrics come out first and the heart is secondary?
Heart will always be the B-side to my. Is that like love and like is that like love and like sex are different kind of maybe?
I think you could take it that way. I think there's multiple different things here. I could also see that, hey, you're feeling a certain way, in your heart, but you say stuff to put up a tough guy front or whatever the case is, or you say things you don't necessarily mean deep down, but you say them anyway. I think it could be any of those things.
I think you're right with that. My heart always the B-side of what I'm saying. So it's like you're lying. Oh, it means lying.
Oh, there it is. Let's ask Pete Wentz. Can you maybe he'll know.
And now our next special guest, Mr. Wentz. Please join
us. No way.
Yeah. No way is correct. So this is basically, I don't usually count evening out with my girlfriend as like a official Fall Out Boy thing. Maybe you might out there, but essentially, Take This to Your Grave comes out, and then this one comes out May 18th, 2004. So this comes out before Cork Tree does. So once we get to Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner, we'll remember that this actually came out before the full band version. So it came out, it debuted at number 153 on the Billboard 200. It's their first time on that chart. It got up to number 5 on the Billboard Heat Seekers album and number 10 on the Billboard Independent Albums chart, and sold like 80,000 copies. So this was back in the DVD days. I think it was also like a digi download or I don't know, a CD-ROM or something like that. But I remember like buying this EP because I was excited after Take This to Your Grave. And I just remember the album cover. I took all my album covers and made them into like a collage on my my dorm room wall. And I always remember this one kind of stood out because it was kind of odd. It's like a locket with like an old photographic child staring at you. I don't know how else to describe it.
A photographic child.
It's like a photograph of a child, not a photographic child.
None of these songs were released. That's a wild fact. So these all came out before the actual electric full band recordings of these songs.
Yeah. Grand Theft Autumn had come out before because that was on Take This to Your Grave. Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner came out after. This came out before the full band version, and then one's a cover song. The other two, I believe, this is the only place that they live. The first 2 songs.
First 2, yeah, because
So let's get into it.
Well, what's interesting, real quick? What's interesting with this is they didn't go heavy on Take This to Your Grave acoustic covers. That they only really picked out the one, and the other. You have the Cork Tree one. You said that the one was a bonus on like a special edition cork tree. That's what I read about the. You said you don't consider this a cork tree song. My heart is the worst kind of weapon, right? Or were you talking about something else?
I was talking about Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner because that is officially on Cork Tree.
So my heart is on cork tree, but like a bonus track or a B-side, I believe.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research on that, but they didn't go heavy on Take This to Your Grave, and usually bands do that. But I like the mix. I think it made sense, and they gave you some new stuff prior to that album coming out, in acoustic fashion, plus, some bonuses, like you said. So I think it's a good mix. But yeah, let's get into it. Steve, you want to kick us off?
My heart is the worst kind of weapon. So let's kind of just I don't know. We'll set this up in a general talk about what this EP is. I guess we already did it, right? There's a cover song, there's a Cork Tree song, there's a Take This to Your Grave song, and there's two that were at least originally done for this. It's not necessarily like a reimagining of other songs that had already existed in its entirety. This song, My Heart is the Worst Kind of Weapon, I felt like very simple acoustic guitar and vocals. I always love Patrick's voice. It's got a nice chorus. It's pretty classic in terms of like Fall Out Boy lyrics and the imaging that they kind of depict. I could dissect you and gut you on the stage. Not as eloquent as I may have imagined, but it'll get the job done. I thought that this was a pretty decent first track, but it's not one that I like really think about or remember all the time.
Okay. Go ahead, Justin.
It's funny. A lot of what you said kind of I resonated with. I felt it was like a bit empty. Empty was the word that I kind of used. However, I did write that, once Patrick Stump's vocals start, no matter what he sings over, it just sounds huge. It sounds big. Even with just one guitar going, I felt like this song could have improved with like a lead over it, just even simple, because just the one guitar kind of strumming. I mean, his vocals kind of make up for a lot of it. And I don't know, I didn't think it was that deep of a song. I wrote, "Dude's just mad he lost a girl" type of song, kind of what you said. It's not that it's bad, but it's not that it's anything, too memorable or anything. But I'm not mad at it.
It's also interesting, like at the end of the song, there's like 30 seconds that are just acoustic guitar. It's like usually if you're doing acoustic tracks, like you're not like kind of just throwing in the instrumentals and the jamming at the end. Usually it goes along with the vocals. Maybe that's just me.
And I mean, with just having this, I didn't hear any lead in this. So just having that one, just strumming, ending it, different choice, but we're talking about it. So maybe not.
Chris, what'd you think?
Yeah, the only thing I'll add here is that I actually really liked the simplicity of it, the stripped down nature, no lead. I enjoyed just, the one acoustic guitar and Patrick's voice. I thought it really accentuated, his ability, his range. And I haven't always necessarily been, very complimentary about Patrick, but I think in a stripped down version like this, and maybe even early on, there's a lot to be said about, the talent that this guy has to be able to sing these songs like he does. So I think that, even though this isn't necessarily a song that you heard on, I mean, it's a bonus, but it wasn't a mainstay track on either of the two albums that we talked about. I think this definitely sounded good as an acoustic song. And the only other point that I'll make is I think that a lot of these, I'd say the majority of these early Fall Out Boy songs are great in terms of transitioning to acoustic. Like they seem like they all work in a way, and that might be again a testament to the band and the way that they arranged it, but they seem like they were made to be acoustic, and it shows in these 5 tracks that we'll talk about.
All right. We'll go on to the next one, which is also a mouthful. It's not a side effect of the cocaine. I am thinking it must be love. Justin, why don't you kick this one off?
Those titles get me, and no one does that anymore. I think we as a scene need to bring that back. The paragraph long titles.
You can do that.
What about Hot Mulligan?
Hot Mulligan does do that. You are absolutely right.
We got one.
So for this one, I wrote it. It sounds similar to the first one. But I did write I kept remembering when he just belted out in between my sheets. Yeah, I really didn't have much to say about this one. Like these first two kind of blended together for me, and it sounded more or less just kind of like one, I'd say bigger song. But then I felt like the rest of the EP, it got better and better. Yeah, I really don't have much for this one. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll go next, and I agree with Justin on this one. I'm not sure that this one really set itself apart. It's kind of samey. I would say take, and I think he already said this, but take what I said about the last song and kind of repeat it. I just didn't enjoy the melody for this one as much as even the first track, so it was a downgrade for me. But I still will hold on to that statement about, there was just something about the acoustic arrangement that felt authentic, felt like it had hard emotion. Like, this song is, deep down, it's a good song, and it's done well acoustically. It has feeling to it. I just didn't enjoy the melody as much.
I think I like this one better than both of you guys put together. And I'm not a guitar player, but I felt like on this one, it sounded like, the chords on the guitar were a little fuller than that first track. I don't know if he was just playing notes in the first one. I could be wrong on that, but it just sounded like there was more guitar going on. And I feel like this one could transition well to like a full band version if they wanted to. It's got a good chorus. Put your hand between an aching hand and an aching heart, make us so jealous. There's this one part, will make them hate us, where there's absolutely no guitar. I feel like that could be a real good sing-along part if they ever played it live, which I don't know if they ever did. And then there's this one part where it's just basically one guitar note repeating and repeating. I don't know if it's a kind of like before, it's kind of like the bridge there. So I thought this one was actually much better than the first one. I liked it more, at least.
Look at you.
Look at me.
I feel like it might be good if I saw him in a coffee shop playing it live as well as like the first one. Maybe I need to just kind of feel what he's feeling as he's singing this, but that would be my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, the next one is a little bit more familiar. Chris, you wanna kick this one off?
Yeah. Nobody puts baby in the corner. This is from the movie Dirty Dancing. In case you didn't know that,
The line, yes.
It's also from the movie.
Yes, of course.
They sing about Patrick Swayze. No, so Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner. Yeah, we all know this song, and it's a good one. It's actually a great one. I'll come out and say it. Like, I think this is probably one of my favorite Fall Out Boy songs for sure. Which, that leads me to some bias with this one. I don't think there's going to be a way that, again, you kind of follow the same recipe that you have that we've already talked about with what this album is, a stripped down, holistically one guitar. Maybe there's some exceptions to that, but when you do that with this song, I think it gives it just a different dimension. Like, I really think this is an amazing version of this song. It definitely, I put here and made me rethink, some of my opinions on Patrick. I think that goes back to what I already said at the beginning of how that, I really wanted to give him his due on this album for sure, as it gave him a real chance to showcase what he could do vocally without all the frills, with all the Munsters and the Uma Thurmans and all that stuff in the background. So I don't know. I don't think you could have done this one any better. I think it was perfectly done, and I really, really enjoyed this track.
Justin, what say you?
I did too, obviously. The guitar, the vocal. When I listened to this, I kind of focused on the actual like mix of it, because I felt like the guitars and the vocals were just perfectly balanced. Like one didn't overshadow the other. And it just, I use very basic words to describe stuff, but it's just, it's big. It sounds big for the song that it is, the acoustic rendition that it is. And then just, it's a classic. I wrote 10 out of 10. I mean, it was just, I would listen to that. I put that on a playlist. It was a perfect rendition of an already good song from a good band.
Yeah, I mean, I heard this version before I heard the full band, before like the Cork Tree version, and I listen. I love everything about this song. There are some absolutely insane lyrics in this, from the very beginning. Drink down that gin and kerosene, and come spit on bridges with me. I feel like there are two guitars. They sounded awesome. The lyrics in the bridge are just insane. Wear me like a locket around your throat. I'll weigh you down. I'll watch you choke. You look so good in blue. That's fucked up. That is a fucked up lyric, and he just makes it sound so pretty and like so seamless. Really enjoyed this version here. The only thing I'll say is the harmony section sounded a little bit awkward at first when they have the two overlapping vocals, because he brings the chorus down an octave, I feel like, but then when they repeat it, it sounds much better. It sounds much closer to like the real harmonies. But I mean, this is a great song, and it's great, acoustic or full band, fantastic.
Yeah, that's not very nice. You really tore that down.
I tore it down, huh? Sorry,
Patrick's not feeling too good right
very
now.
negative. No, I love it. Fantastic, and nice work, Pete, on the lyrics too. Of course,
I'm actually when you say those words, I'm like, oh, that's what he said. I go through life not really knowing what Patrick Stump is saying at all. I can't understand what he's talking about.
He talks fast. I'll say that. Sings fast.
I feel like for probably most of his songs, for people that don't know, they probably have different words than what actually he's saying.
How so?
We did the "you're going down, down and around, sugar, we're going down," singing.
He's just he's got an interesting vocal delivery.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just saying, I don't know what he's saying.
And it's funny because it's not even his own words, because that is a known fact that Pete Wentz is the lyricist of Fall Out Boy.
Pete's words.
That's funny.
Does that mean Pete would really want to be the lead singer?
I don't think so. I think that the way that they have it, it works out very well.
What they should do is be like, hey, we all decided, and we're Pete, now you're the lead singer, so let's go. And then they like all get ready and they go out and they're like, how we fooled you, and you like it was a big joke, but it was like a burn of some kind. I don't know. I'm sure there's a way to do it.
I heard he was the last one to join Fall Out Boy, and they met him at a Barnes and Noble talking about records, when Barnes and Noble used to have like a CD record section.
Oh yeah,
in Chicago.
Yeah, like they needed a singer because none of them thought they were good enough, and then Patrick Stump was like this weird kid that they met at Barnes and Noble, and he just took it over and ran with it, and they took over the world.
Wow, look at that! I had no idea. I'm a record guy too. I'm not a collector, but I have them. All right, let's go to the next song. Steve, Love Will Tear Us Apart.
Yeah, so, I mean, not only is this acoustic, but it's an acoustic cover of a much older song. So I hear some bass in this one, which is the first time I think that I've heard bass at all on the album. This song is all chorus to me, and it's just, it's just one line. Love will tear us apart again and again and again. The verses are super low and chill. The drums and the vocals kind of just explode in the chorus. It was never a song that like I particularly cared for the original, but this version is fine. I like some of their other covers probably better.
Okay, Justin.
I mean, I wrote that the guitars do go well together, the balance of them. And I think that was my gripe of some of the earlier like songs on this one, where there wasn't enough guitar, just like everyone wants more cowbell. I just kind of wanted a little bit more guitar. So it starts to like, this is where it kind of really starts to improve for me. I did write that the Vox, when it first comes in a bit flat, but then, it picks up and corrects itself pretty quick. But my favorite part of it was when those drums come in, because they're just like so raw. and there wasn't much of that up until that point. And I think that's where it starts to really kind of get a little bit fun. Is the best word I can think of it for. So this one's good, almost great, not quite great, but this one's good.
Did either of you guys go back and listen to the original song by Joy Division?
I mean, I kind of know it in the back of my head, but no, not for this exercise.
Have you listened to Joy Division at all?
I mean, the songs that have been on the radio.
Okay.
Yes.
I have not. So, I was just doing a little bit of research on these guys. It definitely, they influence bands, and I'm sure the list is very long. Right here it says they influence bands like The Cure. They influence The Cure. They influence Radiohead and The Killers. Does not say Fall Out Boy, but I would imagine that they're pretty big fans of Joy Division. I don't remember Joy Division being on the radio, though. I don't remember that.
I mean, I've heard this song at some point. Where else would I have heard it other than like a radio?
Really? I have
You've never heard Love Will Tear Us Apart?
No.
Maybe it was in like an 80s movie or something? I don't know.
I don't know. Would it have been in the 90s that you heard it?
I guess so. Yeah, probably.
92.
That was a great time.
92. Yeah.
Good year.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just trying to pull I didn't listen to it, and I should have for this show, but I don't know. Like, I think you guys pretty much covered it. I just thought the song had an interesting melody. It was unique. I don't know. I really didn't enjoy the song as much, though. Not my thing, but that's why I want to go back and listen to the original and see maybe if it's any better. I just didn't like this version. Sometimes acoustic doesn't lend well to the song. I mean, to me, sometimes I like the faster pace, the harder driving guitar, that sort of thing, and that takes a little bit out of it. But yeah, this one, not necessarily my thing. So we can move on.
All right. Well, last song on the EP is an acoustic version of a song that anybody who knows Fall Out Boy from back in the day knows the song Grand Theft Autumn. Where is your boy? Justin, you want to tell us about this one?
I just wrote the word perfect. That's what I wrote. It's one of those songs, acoustic, electric. It's great. It's great. And I feel like it hits now. I'm 34, and it hits the same as when I was 16, I wrote, this is the song, the epitome of old Fall Out Boy. And I know, rating wise, I'd say out of this acoustic EP, this was the epitome of it. This is a perfect one to end it with. Yeah, I mean, this was it. This was the one.
It was the one. This song was perfect. This is, again, there's bias, guys. There's bias because this is also one of my favorite Fall Out Boy tracks. So it would have been really hard for me to come here and say that they messed this one up with their acoustic take on it, because I already told you, like, I really like the way that they approach these songs on this album. So they're going to take a song that I think is amazing. I think, the stripped down acoustic version of it, I almost felt like, I don't know, like I liked it just as much as the regular song. I think that this one just has a place right next to it. Like, I would listen to them back to back. I felt like I was on the beach with Patrick Stump in front of a fire, and he was singing with an acoustic guitar, or he was one of those guys on the boardwalk where you walk by and they're playing their guitar and they want you to throw money in the thing. And you look over and it was actually Patrick, and you'd be like, wow, that's the guy from Fall Out Boy. What's he doing here? Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, you're finished? I like your dream. I didn't know that Patrick Stump has a guitar on the boardwalk.
Why couldn't he?
He could. It's possible.
He can do whatever he wants at this point.
Yeah. I agree with both of you guys. This is just one of the best Fall Out Boy songs ever. And so I feel like one of the more iconic parts of the original is the very beginning of the song, because he a cappella sings, "Where's your boy tonight? I hope he's a gentleman," so on and so forth. But they actually don't do that in this version. In this version, they start off with the guitar riff that just sounds so fantastic, stripped down and acoustic. Like I can hear it in my head. I'm not saying it right, but I can hear it in my head. The guitars in the chorus sound fantastic. I overall, this is again, it's on par with the original. It's hard to say it's better than the original just because the original is so good, but this is a really great version of an acoustic version of a fantastic song. So yeah, 5 stars.
I had this downloaded off Kazaa. Do you remember Kazaa? It was like the Pepsi Cola of LimeWire.
Yeah, of course.
And I had I think I heard this before I heard the real version, the electric version. Yeah, that was the best one.
Well, the thing about downloading from Kazaa is you never actually know what you're going to get. The file could be named something and you get something completely different.
Oh yeah, man. I destroyed a family computer.
Ooh, you got a virus, didn't you?
Oh man, Napster, Kazaa, LimeWire, we had it all.
Don't forget about BearShare. That was one of those other.
Is that one? we were criminals.
BearShare. Yeah. Once like Napster kind of got shut down, they came out with all the other lesser thans.
When I was the coolest when we were in college, and I got one of those for the first time, and someone was like, "Man, I really wish we could hear this song at this party that we're at your place." And I said, "You know what? Just wait right there." And I went and I downloaded it and I played it on the spot.
And you burned it onto a CD, probably.
No, I just had it streaming from my computer.
Oh, okay.
But that's when I was the coolest.
Oh yeah, dude.
I remember those days. All right, so that's My Heart Will Always Be the B-side to My Tongue. We're going to move on to our next topic of conversation. Before we do that, we just want to say thank you to our friends over on our Patreon. We got Steve Kelly, Steve C, Nick, Chris W, Sam, Jason, Ashley, Tom, Jeff, Punk Rock Mom, Punkish Dad's friend, and Chris P. Appreciate your patronage. And next, we're going to go on to a completely different band that's still in the same universe. Maybe this is like the next wave, right? The next wave. They're a little bit younger in terms of their age, but this is the State Champs, and they had a record that was called The Finer Things, and then they released an EP called The Acoustic Things on October 7th in 2014 on Pure Noise Records. It includes 5 songs from that record done acoustically from The Finer Things, and then 2 brand new songs that are acoustic just for this record. So who should start this one off? Justin? Chris, you had something to say?
Well, let me just say that we were working together in 2014 and we never talked about this album.
I didn't listen to State Champs until like a couple of years ago, so you're right.
I told you about them one time, remember?
Yeah, probably.
In 2014.
In 2014 you told me about them?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Oh, wow.
Do you have that conversation recorded?
You were like, whatever, man. I don't care about that band.
That's what I said?
That
doesn't sound like me.
So I think you said.
That doesn't sound like me.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was something like that.
All right. Well, sorry.
Yeah, I was waiting a long time for that. Sorry, and it's okay.
I didn't mean it.
It's okay
because it didn't happen.
All right. Well, Justin, because of all this nonsense, why don't you get started?
All right. So the acoustic thing. So the first track of that was Elevated. And right away, within the first few seconds of this one, because I listened to this right after, Fall Out Boy was, this one, the production is just so much higher. Obviously, this was made years and years later, but, while the other one was just one simple guitar and, Stump's vocals over that, this one still had like a full band feel throughout the whole thing. Right away it was mixed fantastic. And it's one of those songs, electric, acoustic, it works. And kind of what I said when we first started talking, and I read it right away was, Derek's voice is just, it was made for acoustic. He's such a pretty singer. His voice is just, it's crisp and it flows and it's nice. And like I said, he could have been a pop star if he so chose to. this one, I scored these for some reason. I said 8 out of 10.
It's all right. You can institute your own ranking system if you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, I'll go. The vocals here are amazing, but really, what did you expect? I think that we all knew that, you know, Derek was going to shine during this particular album with, you know, only an acoustic background. But you're right. I think that it does have a richer sound. It does sound like there's more of a band behind, even though I don't know. It feels like, you know, maybe there's a lead and a rhythm and maybe a tambourine or two in the backgrounds of some of these. And maybe there's some variation. There are 7 songs, and I didn't pick every single instrument out of each one, but for a lot of them, I thought it was definitely, you know, minimal in terms of what they were using with instruments. But the focal point was his voice. So back to the point, it obviously strikes you right away that, man, this guy is really something else. It just sounds amazing. The percussion in this song, I wrote down, is the percussion in this song just clapping? Is that the percussion? But then again, I found the tambourine later, so I think that's not necessarily true. I think that, you know, the layering of the rhythm and the lead guitar, you know, in the acoustic format, they're perfectly done. I just thought it sounded great. We'll call it the more serious bridge where, you know, his voice takes a turn, a little bit more of a serious approach. I love that. It keeps the song going, keeps the interest going towards the end of the song where some of the music drops out and it's just him singing. It's just, this song's another level to me, and it's an amazing chorus and just an awesome song to listen to either way, but specifically acoustically.
Yeah, for me, so the original song is just fucking huge. It's a State Champs staple. It's got all the elements of like a classic, awesome pop punk song. The acoustic version is a totally different song. Instead of aggressive and strong, it's like tame and beautiful. Like the voice inflection is, I think it's transformed. It's very different, but in the perfect way. Even in this chiller, tamer way, the chorus still hits. They add in some piano, which I found was a good addition. There's definitely, I think there is regular percussion, but there are parts where there are claps and snaps in the background. So, I mean, this is the way to kick off, you know, your record, whether it's the finer things or the acoustic things. Elevated is a song that it's elevated to the top standard for sure.
That was my nickname in college, was Tame and Beautiful.
Tame and Beautiful.
I believe it.
Yeah. That's not like the hair care products that you use.
I didn't give myself that name. You have to be given a nickname.
Yeah, everybody else gave you that.
You know, things just stick sometimes.
This song actually kind of reminds me a lot of Eyes Closed in like the way that its cadence goes. If you think about it, if you listen to the chorus of this one and listen to the chorus of Eyes Closed, for some reason they kind of just line up in my mind. I don't know if anybody else.
I can hear that. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. So let's move on. I guess I'll take the next one. So Deadly Conversation. This is another one, Steve, where the original version of this to me is just a flat out banger. Like, it's fast paced. There's a ton of energy. Another huge, amazing chorus. Like, I love Deadly Conversation, Real Time, or, you know, Plugged In. And I think the acoustic version is great too. But in this scenario, I don't necessarily know if I feel like slowing down this song puts it on an even playing field or makes it even just as good as the original. I think that it does take a little bit away, but I'll leave it at this. When you say it's not as good as something that I just considered like an amazing, just, you know, top of the line song, it's not like it's really that bad. Like, I think this is still a great acoustic version of an amazing song. And even though it does sap a little bit out of it, it's still worth listening to.
Yeah, I'll say the original song starts off acoustic, but then kind of picks up big time. They skip that part in this acoustic version. To me, the arrangement keeps most of the same vibes as the original. It's not as drastic a shift as Elevated was to me. I feel like the vocals are pretty close. The pre-chorus and the chorus sound great. Those are great parts of this song. In the original, there's this double time bridge that is really like picks it up and is fast. But in the acoustic version, they kind of keep it slow with a single guitar picking. Overall, I think this was a really nice rendition of a good song.
Justin?
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I scored this one for some reason, and I did a 7.8 out of 10. The thing that I liked most about this track was that the guitars going, the rhythm and the lead. It sounds like you're in the room with, like you're hearing it in a room with the band playing it. And I don't think every track on the CP sounds like that, but this one in particular did, and I find that very hard to accomplish. So I don't know what their producer did, but that was a reason that I really went to this track. Obviously it's again one of their bigger songs, regardless. And coming from the first track where his voice just kind of stayed in that again, I keep saying, the pretty manner. This one, he starts to get that little snarl that you like from Derek, like that we're indifferent, like he gets it in there. And again, like I said, it's perfectly balanced, but it sounds like I'm in the room with them, and they're just like, again, yeah, it sounds like I'm right there. So yeah, I like this one a lot. This was top up there for this whole EP.
All right, cool. I'll go over to the next song, Hard to Please. In the original, there's really kind of hard chugging guitars here. It's not necessarily my favorite jam in terms of like how catchy it is and how hooky it is. But again, the acoustic is much, much lighter. They definitely missed an opportunity to change the lyric from "I've been told to find the finer things" to "I've been told to find the acoustic things." I think that they should have done that because it's stupid and I like it and it's titular. I actually liked this version, I think, better. The pre-chorus and chorus sounded better stripped down. But you ignore all these, like the way that he says the words ignored and all, I think they sound better this way. And the harmonies that they add in at the end sounded really good. So I think I would maybe give this one a thumbs up compared to the original.
Go ahead, Justin.
See, I don't like to be negative, especially with very talented bands who get to do the thing. I didn't really care for this one. It's kind of just one of the, like, it's not that it was really bad. It was just very easily skippable. I wrote the same thing you said, Steve. Just it's a little lighter. Does that make it better? Does it make it good? I wrote that in question marks, so I'm not really sure. And overall, I didn't really have much to say. I gave this one a 4.6.
Okay, Chris.
I am probably leaning more towards what Justin just said. Look, I mean, it's fine. It's personal opinion. It's just personal opinion. I'm just not as into it. I think it's less memorable of a track. It's not as striking. It's nothing that I can pull out that says that his vocals are this or that really was like, wow, I love that. Or maybe there was a chorus that was just such a great, arrangement or melody. Like nothing was really there, in my opinion, in this song that really struck me. So it's a fine track, not memorable, still enjoyable, but definitely not as good as what we've heard so far.
All right, keep it going.
You want me to go?
Sure.
All right, what about this Simple Existence? I think that a couple things stood out here. Number one, it had some really, really great layered harmonies here with the guitars. This is what I like about this one, and I'll leave it at that. I like how Derek, and I think maybe you alluded to this, Justin, but I like how Derek still belts out the lyrics in these acoustic versions. Like sometimes with bands, like there's an acoustic version of it, and they'll go a little bit softer, and just kind of make it a little bit more nice. But Derek doesn't necessarily hold back in this one. It's just he blasts you with his voice like he would in a regular track, but you just replace electric guitars with acoustic guitars behind it. And hey, guess what? It still works and it still sounds great. So I think this song, "Simple Existence," is a showcase of that, and I'm all here for it. What do you guys think?
Justin, you go ahead.
Yeah, I I love that you use the word belt. Like he belted out. I wish I wrote that, but I did write that he doesn't hold back. Like again, he's a pretty singer, but he gets this little like gurgle snarl here and there, but it's not like overpowering. And it works. It just simply works. It's a simple song. It's nothing crazy, but it's got a good flow. I think this of the whole thing had the best intro, though. I love that tambourine kind of thing going in the intro. So an intro is more important than I think we all give credit for, because it's kind of like a book. The cover of the book is what you kind of look at first before you're going to give it a shot. So I loved it. I gave it a 7.4. Is what I wrote.
I like this. We're gonna ask you to soon. You're gonna have to explain these different decimal points, but it has a gurgle snarl, as you said. So that's worth like 2 points right there.
Oh, dude, easy with the tambourine. I mean, that instantly gave it to 5. Right off the bat.
Gurgle snarl plus tambourine, you start at 5. I get it. For me, the song has a simple, catchy beat to it. It's got some fun starts and stops in the pre-chorus. It's got a fun chorus. It's got a really awesome kind of subtle bridge. Another great State Champ song. Same formula as the rest of the EP. It sounds super pretty acoustic. I said the same thing as you guys, just in different words. I didn't say gurgle snarl, but he maintains the same grit in his voice that you kind of come to love, especially with the original. And I feel like some of these start stops, they work even better in this version. The bridge is really pretty soft, and towards the end, more harmonies. I love when bands do harmonies. I love when they do them acoustic, and they sound really, really good, all mixed together. And that's that.
Easy enough.
Easy enough. Justin, you want to start this one?
Easy enough. Yeah. So this one, I said again, it's not. You know what I wrote for this one? That I don't have a real connection to this song. There's just, I guess I'm just not one of the people it speaks to all that much. However, I said one of the kind of better lines from it was, I just want it to be more than a memory. I resonated with that, but really not the rest of it. And again, I wrote snarls again. He kept the snarls in. He kept the grittier tone to singing, and I love that. That's kind of what I try to accomplish when I do it. And I gave this guy a 6.8. Respectable. Again, not winning any awards, but it's up there.
And this is out of 10, correct?
This is out of 10. Yeah. So what is that? 6.8. It's like a D plus.
That's probably. Are you sure? That might be better than a D plus. Because wouldn't you say that 5 is average, like a C?
Well, when I went to school, it was like a 90 to 100 was an A, an 80.
You're doing that, okay.
And a 70, and and so on. So that would have been like a very solid passing grade D plus. Yeah.
I think on a scale of 1 to 10, though, I got to agree with Chris. The 5 would be kind of like middle of the road, right?
It's his scale. We
need to work these scales out.
I'm not saying it makes sense, and maybe I'll type up a whole tutorial kind of thing on how I scored this.
So anything 5 and below, anything 5 and below is an F, like an F.
I guess I could say anything 5 or below is like, I'm not going to listen to this going forward type of, where I think that was the lowest score I think I gave here was the 6.8. So if that's the lowest score, I don't think that's too shabby.
A 5.9 is an F plus.
Yeah, sure.
That's what you want to strive for, kids.
Yeah, not bad.
I mean, All right, so wow, Lee, where were we at? Easy enough. What did I write? I can't read what I wrote. Why isn't that something? No, I think that I wrote this. This is what I think. I think this song has a really powerful chorus. Once again, imagine that with a state champ song, right? Yeah, they keep that going. I love it. Right? They have these powerful choruses. It translates well with acoustic. We talked about that with Fall Out Boy. It works here with a lot of these songs. Easy Enough is no exception. It still gives that authentic acoustic feeling, even with that bigger chorus. And just picking out some things within the song. I love that last part with the ooh ahs or ooh oohs behind everything. Usually I don't like that, but I like it here. And I feel like they do get a little bit more aggressive with the acoustic guitar on this track. Maybe that's towards the latter half of the song, but definitely adds a great dimension to it. So I thought that was so good. I really enjoyed the way that they kind of wrapped this one up, this particular track. And I think it was definitely a thumbs up. I would give this one I don't know what I would give this one, but I think I'd give this one definitely a high score because it stood out to me. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, so this is the final track on the Finer Things, and to me, it kind of has that like last song on an album type vibe to it. In this version, we get a little more emotion, I think, in the vocals in the acoustic version. It's another State Champs chorus that really rips in both versions, and they end the song. Or close to the end of the song, there's like an a cappella, which I found to be like very powerful. I thought it was really, really cool. So I liked Easy Enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like we all kind of did. Leave you in the dark. I think it's my turn here. We'll keep it going. Not much to talk about here, guys. For me, I think the song is fine. This one didn't strike me again. Like this is another one of those. Just hey, it's an acoustic song. The vocals definitely carry it, but musically, I don't know. I didn't pick anything out of this one. I listened to it obviously a number of times, and it was kind of just there. So maybe you guys saw something different I didn't see.
I didn't all that much. So these last two songs weren't on the Finer Things. I think we mentioned that. These are just new songs that were added, and they live here on this EP. There's these little guitar lines that are pretty great on this one, but I'm not sure that the song really hits me all that hard. You're right. It's a nice song and all, but it just didn't have like the earworm thing to like pull me in and keep me wanting more. Justin, I don't know if you felt any different.
No, I resonate with you guys heavy, and I actually lumped this one with the last track if I'm lucky. And again, I just I don't like being like negative or like especially with bands that like if they gave me the phone call I would jump and play with them. But I just wrote they're not bad. I wrote the word meh, just meh. A little generic. And then and they're at the end. So by this point, you're kind of like State Champs acoustic up, and then they hit you with these last two, and I feel like they kind of just finish the EP with this, just to kind of finish the EP with it. So no, basically I'm just resonating with exactly what you guys are saying about it.
So does that cover you with If I'm Lucky as well, or you have more for that one?
Yeah, because like I said, I bundled them together, and then right underneath it I wrote, preferably State Champs Electric. That's what I wrote. But it's not like I would skip over them if they were on some acoustic pop punk playlist. Again, I'm not mad at it. I threw it a 6.0 for both of them.
All right, so Chris, you and I will hit this last song.
Do you guys think that when bands do that, when they put on tracks that nobody's, and I know, okay, so I understand when you have a new album, there's a lot of tracks no one's heard before, but with a thing like this, where it's majority songs that we've heard before, and then they throw on two different ones that we haven't. I know there's other examples of this. Do you think that those extra tracks generally fall flat more times than not?
I mean, not always, not necessarily. My guess would be that like these two songs were probably songs that maybe like got cut from the last album, and they're like, maybe we'll try them out on this acoustic. That's just a guess.
But isn't that a reason? Like, don't songs get cut for a reason?
Well, you want to cap it at 12 songs. That doesn't mean 13 and 14 aren't as good as 11 and 12 necessarily.
I feel like,
I mean, it's in the eye. It's all in the eye of the beholder. But yeah, go ahead, Justin.
well, no, I mean, if you're listening to this from like a start to finish standpoint, they might have benefited from putting these two songs like within the previous 5. Like they shouldn't have, these two songs shouldn't have been 6 and 7 on this EP. Maybe like 3 and 5, like track wise, and then maybe it would have helped them kind of get an ear. I'm not really making too much sense, but I don't think it was a good decision to throw these two newer tracks as the last two of the EP.
Well, no, I get what you're saying. If you sandwich a song like this between two really good ones, sometimes it has a different luster to it. Like people see it as better than what you might see it if it wasn't, and they do it a lot. So they being bands in general. And it's it makes sense. It's a good tactic. And I think it works in a lot of ways. Sometimes it doesn't. But when you do this, they're kind of standing on their own merits. And I'm sure there's people out there that are big fans of these two songs. So, that's cool too. But I just don't see it. And are we moving on to the last one here, Steve, if I'm lucky? So, yeah, I mean, I like this one, I think is a very well put together pop song. Like it's not necessarily like he just goes more into the realm of a radio pop song and it sounds good if that's what it was. I'd actually like to hear this song plugged in. Honestly, I want to hear this song electric to see if, maybe it gives it a little bit more of an edge. I just acoustically it melded in with the last one. I don't think it really stood out amongst these last two tracks. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So whatever you guys think.
Do you think if they had an electric version and you listened to that and maybe fell for that song a little bit and then heard this acoustic one, it would have upped it a little bit? Or
yeah, potentially. I'm not sure that there was, because like you can hear on tracks like Elevated and Deadly Conversation, you can hear that there's that melody, there's that tinge of what really just sounds amazing and what they do and how they have that chorus and the way he sings. Like in this song, I'm not sure that was necessarily there. Like, again, it's performed great. Like his voice is on point, like he sings, but there's nothing in here that really was a hook for my ear. So I'm maybe a different arrangement would enhance that and make it sound better. I just don't know what that would sound like.
Yeah, lack of a hook. That's good. Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I like this one. Definitely better than Leave You in the Dark. I like they keep playing on the, hello blank, hello sunshine, hello summer, hello stranger, hello beautiful. I found that kind of endearing. I thought that the piano was really nice in this one. They do have some finger snapping in the background. I thought the chorus was nice, and I'm kind of just comparing it to the one before and saying that I like it a lot better. I thought this was a really pretty song. It's got some background oohs. It's got some acapella to it. I thought there was more to this one than the last one. So of the two, I would give this one a higher score.
All right.
That's the end. That's the end. We did 2 EPs, 2 albums, guys.
You bucked the trend, Steve. You bucked the trend.
I did. Positive.
All right. Well, we talked about every single song, but what we didn't do is what we're going to do in the next section. However, Justin, you may have given some of your hand away with your ranking system, not ranking, because we're getting into the next segment, which is called Rankin' It. And that's where we're really going to lay all of our cards on the table and rank our top 3 favorite songs with no honorable mentions. We're going to do it in order, 3-1, 3-2-1, and we can intermix. We are going to intermix both of these EPs into our rankings. So will it be a Fall Out Boy song that comes out on top? Will it be a State Champs song? Will it be all 3 State Champs songs? I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. And Justin, we usually have the guests go first. Hate to put you on the spot, but are you ready to rank your top 3 favorite songs?
Yeah, I think I'll talk it out, but yeah, I'm ready.
Go for it.
So I'll go 1, 2, 3. So I want number 1, and I'd be surprised if this isn't the communal opinion, but Grand Theft Autumn, I think, is number one. For number two, I would probably say Elevated. And then for three, I would probably say Deadly Conversation.
Okay. So two State Champ songs and one Fall Out Boy song.
So Fall Out Boy gets that one spot, but then State Champs kind of rounds it out with that second, third. So I don't know what's more important to you, the gold medal or getting multiple, the silver and bronze.
And look, I mean, you went to your first one first. So there was no suspense, Justin, no drum roll, but that's okay because we got right to the point. And it didn't seem like that was too hard of an exercise for you. Seems like you had those lined up.
That one.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, Steve, you want to go next?
Yeah, there's one that should be on here, but it's not on here, which would be Deadly Conversation. But I'll keep it at my top three. And so number three for me, and Justin's not number one, but it's definitely on the list. It's Grand Theft Autumn. Nothing bad to say. That's a fantastic rendition. But I put number two, I gave to State Champs and Elevated, because again, that song rips and this version rips. But my favorite out of this group, I think, is Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner. And maybe it's because I heard this version, then I heard the plugged-in version, and I love both versions. But that song has been with me for a long time, just edged out the other two.
This was tough for me because there's a couple decisions.
Growl, snarl.
All right. So we're gonna go. We're going to just go with the original thought process. I'm gonna go with what I was gonna go with. So number three is going to be Deadly Conversation. That was uncontested. It was always going to be number three, and there were no other songs that were close. There was not a close four for me. Number two is where I had the problem. Because I want to go Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner, but man, Grand Theft Autumn, that's a good one too, guys. But I still go back to my original rankings with these songs, and I think the acoustic versions hold. Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner is a better song in my opinion, and it's better acoustically as well. It just comes off as just a little bit more of a pure song, more authentic. It sounds a little bit better, a little bit more crisper. And honestly, like, you know, Grand Theft Autumn, Where's Your Boy? It's fine. Maybe I heard it one too many times. We're gonna go with Nobody Puts Baby in the Corner at number two, leave Grand Theft Autumn on the scrap heap, and then go Elevated for number one. Uncontested, bar none, my number one, and just one of my all-time favorite State Champ songs.
So
acoustic as well.
Same four songs across the board for all three of us.
It does, yeah. It does seem like that.
No, listen, that speaks to the quality of these songs, and this was fun. Acoustic April is almost officially over. Chris, are you sad to see it go?
I am. I think that there are so many more acoustic albums out there. At least I think there are. And we've talked about punk goes acoustic before, right? We've gone through some of that.
We did that one album, yeah.
There's other stuff out there. So look, I mean, I don't think this has to be the end. We can continue to listen to this stuff and think about, you know, what are some of our other favorite versions, acoustic versions of songs that maybe we didn't talk about on the show. That's always fun to do. That's what I'm going to do. So
Chris is not saying goodbye. He's just saying see you later.
Well, you know, August starts with an A too, so you can always do a little acoustic August if you felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I made a mistake, and I actually also did State Champs Unplugged. There are other acoustics. If you want to talk about that, let me know.
I didn't listen to that. I should.
Is that a mix of multiple albums?
Yeah.
That was actually an MTV Unplugged, wasn't it?
Oh, maybe. Now you got me, man.
I think it was, because when we did the Dashboard Unplugged one, I looked up all the Unplugs, and I think State Champs was on there.
Yeah.
So, Justin, do you recommend would you recommend that one or the acoustic things if you had to pick one?
Probably the acoustic things was still a little bit again, if I subtracted the last just 2 tracks, and again I'm not knocking them, but I would probably still go with the acoustic things, honestly. But it's still a great listen. And again, if you want to bring back acoustic uh acoustic August, we can talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Let me ask you a question. As a musician, do you like playing songs acoustically?
Like I think acoustic work. There's certain bands that can pull it off more. Or maybe the way that they write translates better. Um, or yeah, I think we need to get better. I guess we played our first acoustic show this year. Uh, First time in a couple years, and I'm not really proud of it. So it's something I feel like we have to kind of improve on. But I think there's some of our songs that have the potential if we so choose to someday. So I don't know. Maybe ask me in a couple months and I'll see what we're doing.
Well, do us a favor and tell everybody out there how to follow Cheer Up Dusty. I know that you just released a brand new single, Everybody Hates Me Too. I'll let you hype it up. And if you have any upcoming shows that you want to plug, here's your chance.
I mean, we are at Cheer Up Dusty on everything, all the socials. We're Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You have to be there. We're there. More importantly, it's the music itself. So Spotify, Apple Music, anything. We're the only Cheer Up Dusty that exists, so which is cool. So if you look it up, you'll find us. We dropped Everybody Hates Me Too. When we recorded the demo, I was like, this seems like a sequel, and everyone was cool with it, and we just ran with it. And yeah, man, we're just busy as heck right now. We're playing. I have a spreadsheet because I just can't even remember all the dates and everything. But we're playing a This Is Emo Night next month on May 16th with Sucker Punch. Our boys stoked on that. We're playing Summer Shoreline Festival this year. Very stoked on that. We're playing, we're playing Milk Boy in Philly in June with Keep Flying. Very excited about that. We got a couple, smaller shows sprinkled throughout it, and yeah, man, we're really just doing the thing this year. So it'd be a good time for your listeners who haven't heard of us to just come with us.
Yeah, check out the music. We put a link in the show notes to Cheer Up Dusty's page on Spotify, and definitely would recommend checking them out live if they are in or around your city. And you guys are, not just Philly, Jersey anymore. You guys, I know you're in Pittsburgh either earlier this year or last year, and traveling around the Northeast and hopefully everywhere. So thank you so much for coming on, man. Wish Cheer Up Dusty the best.
No, you guys too. Thanks for having me. I just anytime. I would just love to come talk to you guys anytime, man.
Awesome. Where in Pittsburgh did you play?
We played in Pittsburgh last December at a record store. And I'm sorry, I can't keep everything in my head. I can't even tell you.
I know where that was. I think I know where that was. Yeah.
We played with Old Neon, which I'm really stoked we got to, because a couple months later they announced that they were, ending, and they played their last shows. So was very, very happy to play with them. We made really good friends with Crash Nebula and ended up doing a run with them just a couple weeks ago. And then we played Pittsburgh again just in March. And again, I can't remember all the places, but it was, just a bowling alley sports bar, great stage, great sound. It was like we had a bunch of Philly bands, a bunch of Pittsburgh bands, and it was just this, chaotic show that was amazing. And yeah, I love Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's really growing on me, and I'll come back there anytime they'll have us.
Yeah, I want to say that you played at the Government Center.
Yes, that was it.
Yeah, it's really, and weird's not a good word, because it's cool. Like it's a record store, but it's there's a stage. So, I don't know. It was a pretty cool vibe. I was there probably about a year and a half ago, Steve. I was there to see a band But yeah, next time you guys come around, let me know. Be happy to come out and check you out.
Absolutely.
Wherever that may be, whether it be, there or the Roxy or wherever else you might play in the Pittsburgh area. And yeah, so again, thanks for coming on the show. Love talking about My Heart Will Always Be the B-side to My Tongue and the acoustic things. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Acoustic April. If you did, if you loved it as much as we did, let us know. Hop on to Apple Podcasts if you have Apple. A lot of you guys do. I know you do. Give us a written review. Let us know what you think about the show. And if you don't want to do that and don't want to write anything, which I get it, time is valuable. Just give us a 5-star review. Let us know that you really support the show, and that definitely will do that. So that's number one. Number two is we have some outstanding items still available on our shop that are all branded with the High School Never End logo. You can get to that shop via the hub. It's www.hsnepod.com. Go check it out. You get everything from, t-shirts to hats to mugs to that's it.
Insert something that we don't sell.
I didn't know. Not this time.
Oh.
I held back.
Got it. You can also support the show. Follow us on socials at HSNEPod, like High School Never Ends Pod. We have a Discord server that's free. You can chat with us and some other really fun people. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/HSNEPod, where you can support the show for $5 a month or $10 a month. You get bonus content and sneak peeks to what is coming up next. So, Chris, we should record that for May because May is around the corner. Acoustic April is done. Justin, thank you so much again for coming on the show. Looking forward to seeing Cheer Up Dusty again soon. We'll be back next week with another episode. Till then, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
It's Dragon Wagon.